So, following up, that fella's tough. So, I'm the proud graduate of the South Central School of Cerebral Palsy, which I went to when I was, it would have been preschool for you normal folks. And it's a weird place in that everybody there has already had a worse life than most other people, so you form bonds very quickly. And let me just tell you, I haven't told this story to almost anybody. I hope you still like me afterwards. So I became friends with someone who I'm going to call Sarah, because I don't know her name. Cerebral palsy, for people who don't know, affects your body in different ways. You can have a fully capable mind, but your hands and your feet and your legs and your arms don't listen to you. For me, it manifests directly in my arms and my hands. So right now, you'll see my hands shaking, maybe in the front, not so much in the back, just a little bit. That came through years of psychogenesis, marijuana, and a healthy addiction to alcohol. I don't think the school actually did anything for me, but it was nice to be around people like me. Sarah, it manifested in her legs. She had these amazingly large metal contraptions, basically like you were trying to build a building, but it was her legs instead, and they would never work, and we all knew it even at that age. But we became friends because between her arms and my legs, we were a complete person, and we knew it. And so she would help me, and I would help her. One of the tasks we often had to do would be to tie your shoes. And while my hands didn't work well, I would be able to reach those a little bit easier than she could. And so I would tie her shoes for her. And whenever we had to write our name, which to this day I struggle with, she would write my name for me when the teachers weren't looking. And she'd make it look bad enough that they'd believe that I had done it. We helped each other make pretzel rolls in the initials of our names, and I'd eat both because, look at me, that's what I do. She would, sometimes her legs would cramp so much that she wouldn't be able to walk, and she'd be embarrassed by it. And my hands shake, but my arms are strong, and so I would carry her. Obviously, if we were older, this would be very romantic, but at the time, we were just looking out for each other. Another problem I had at the time was a very sincere hatred of my body, something that I carried with myself for a long time. I hated that I couldn't play with other children who didn't have cerebral palsy. I hated that I couldn't control myself. I hated that I knew for the rest of my life, even at that young age, that I would never have it easy. Easier than others, I guess. I realize now that that's not entirely true. Sarah didn't have that problem. She was always very happy. She was always very cheery. Her legs didn't work, but she was remarkably good at walking on her hands. And she would do this often. If her legs started hurting too much, or if she was bored, or during recess, she would walk around on her hands. And it was amazing to see. I mean, even with all the weight of the metal, these amazing, horrible devices that for some reason doctors thought would help, she would walk on her hands as if you were just walking in the park, or as if she was made to do that. And she would try to show me how to do the same thing because we were friends, because we completed each other, and she wanted me to experience the joy that is not feeling as though you aren't a complete person. But I couldn't. My arms are strong, but my hands shake, and so I would try, and I couldn't do it. And I would get so full of anger that this little wonderful girl was able to experience that, and I wasn't. So, at one point, she was walking on her hands and she was laughing. She was laughing because she didn't feel like she wasn't a complete person. She was laughing because she's a little girl who can walk on her hands, and why wouldn't you laugh? But as that young child, I thought she was laughing at me for not being able to. And my hands shake, but my arms are strong. And I pushed her over. And I want you to imagine a child with maybe 40 to 50 pounds worth of metal on her legs being pushed over by another child. And I want you to imagine the noise that makes on a cheap cement floor, because nobody supports that kind of work, and you can't afford to have cushioned floors. And I want you to imagine the look that she gave me, and I want you to imagine the teachers carrying her out without saying anything, because one of the rules of this school is you don't make anybody feel bad. And I want you to imagine her parents picking her up and never seeing her again. And I want you to imagine my parents picking me up and the teachers talking to them and me still graduating from this ridiculous school. And this formulated who I am as a person. There has not been a month that's gone by where I haven't thought of this little girl walking on her hands and thought of me pushing her over. And I wonder if she still does that. And I wonder if when she does, she thinks of me.
Very nice